He chose me. Well, actually, we chose each other because, I mean, I'm a big fan of his, and, you know, I think he's a big fan of mine. So we just work together good.
Have you ever wondered what Brandy has been hiding all this time? What did she finally reveal that has everyone talking? Fans have been guessing for years, but now Brandy just confirmed what we all suspected. Is it about her music, her personal life, or something completely unexpected? What does this big news mean for her future? Let's dive into the truth Brandy just shared with the world. Brandy Norwood was born in Macomb, Mississippi, to parents Sonia and Willie Norwood. At just 7 years old, she told her father that she wanted to be the next Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston.
When I saw the reactions that people gave her, I knew that, you know.
Little did she know, only a few years later, she would be working alongside her idol. Brandy's life has been full of accomplishments, from starring in her own television show to winning a Grammy. Brandy's story started with a big dream and a big move. After leaving Mississippi, she and her family moved to Carson, California, which was close to the heart of the entertainment world. With so much talent, Brandy didn't struggle to find work.
The only way I'll be choking is if I eat any of that nasty-looking cake, Miss Ann.
She was hired as a background singer for the R&B group Immature in 1993. Soon after, she signed with Atlantic Records, and her mother, Sonia, became her manager. However, Sonia faced criticism from people who believed she would ruin Brandy's career. It wasn't always easy for them. Brandy later admitted that she wanted her mom to be more nurturing, but Sonia was all about business. Brandy often wished her mom would listen to her problems, but Sonia was focused on their career goals. While working on her music, Brandy also landed a role in the ABC sitcom Thea. At the time, Brandy wasn't thrilled about acting because her passion was singing. She was often unhappy when she had to cancel music studio sessions to fulfill her acting duties. After just one season, the show was canceled, and Brandy was able to focus fully on her music. In 1994, Brandy's debut album was released. It was a huge success, certified quadruple platinum in the US and selling 6 million copies worldwide. The following year, one of her songs, Sitting Up in My Room, was featured on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack.
I must confess, I'm a mess for you.
Did Brandy really get away with murder? Aside from her music success, many people may not remember this, but back in 2006, Brandy was involved in a serious car accident.
And then there was people in the other car, but the airbags were covering them up. Bad accident. I think there's fatality.
It happened on December 30th and became the biggest scandal of her career. A woman lost her life, and others were injured. Brandy was driving her 2007 Land Rover on the 405 freeway in California. Reports said she was going about 65 miles per hour. Traffic had slowed down ahead of her, but she didn't notice in time. She crashed into a 2005 Honda in front of her with so much force that the Honda hit another car and spun into the divider. Another car then hit it.
Brandy Norwood rear-ended a vehicle, causing that vehicle to subsequently impact the vehicle in front and lose control and swerve in a northwesterly direction across all lanes where it was broadsided by the 4th and last.
The Honda had 3 people inside, a woman named Awatef Abudihaj and her 2 sons. Awatef was seriously injured and sadly died the next day. Her cause of death was listed as blunt force trauma. Her son survived, as did the driver of another car involved, Mallory Ham. Brandy wasn't hurt in the crash. Eyewitnesses said Brandy was in shock after the accident. She reportedly walked into traffic crying and saying it was all her fault. She crossed the freeway twice while cars were speeding by and people were honking at her to get out of the road. Witnesses told TMZ that Brandy kept saying, "I hit the lady, it's my fault." Brandy's team released a statement a few days later saying she was deeply sorry and sent her condolences to the woman's family. They also asked for privacy during that tough time. But after the crash, the lawsuits started piling up. Awatef's family was the first to file a case, asking for $50 million. They said Brandy had been driving recklessly when her car hit Awatef's. Her sons, who were in the car, were also hurt and traumatized. Because of this, a separate lawsuit was filed on behalf of the children. The family's lawyers explained that the boys were not only injured, but had to deal with losing their mom in such a tragic way. Other people involved in the crash, including Mallory Ham and another man, also sued Brandy. It seemed like everyone was looking for justice. Brandy's lawyer called the situation a terrible tragedy, but said they couldn't talk about the lawsuits due to legal reasons. However, when Brandy personally responded to the lawsuits, things got worse for her. She denied all the claims and said the case should go to court. Many people thought her response seemed cold, and it caused a lot of backlash in the media.
Do not believe that Brandy got up, got in her car with the intention to hit somebody. She was involved in a car accident.
According to TMZ, the woman's husband claims that Brandy, along with another driver, Mallory Ham, was driving too fast and too close to other cars. This, he says, caused the crash that killed his wife. In his lawsuit, he says that because of his wife's death, he will never get the support, comfort, and love from her again. He is suing for an unknown amount of money to cover things like medical bills, funeral expenses, and legal costs. On top of the lawsuits, Brandy was also in trouble with the police. They were considering charging her with vehicular manslaughter because someone died in the crash. But it wasn't just the police that were upset with her. The public and the victim's family were also very angry. They felt that Brandy didn't seem sorry for what happened. A few weeks after the accident, Brandy was seen by paparazzi driving while using her phone. For someone who had just been involved in a crash that killed someone, this seemed very insensitive. Even more upsetting was that Brandy was seen at parties and clubs in Hollywood not long after the accident. The family of the woman who died was especially angry. It seemed like Brandy was moving on with her life, while they were left to grieve. Many people agreed with the family. They would have felt just as upset if they were in the same situation. The investigation into the crash took a long time. The police had to figure out if there were any problems with Brandy's car that could have caused the crash. After months of investigation, the California Highway Patrol, CHP, recommended that Brandy be charged with misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter. It seemed like Brandy didn't want to face punishment, so she and her team tried to shift the blame. They pointed to the deceased victim, claiming she was partly to blame for the crash. This only made things worse for Brandy, as many people felt she was not taking responsibility for her actions. To make things more complicated, a toxicology report showed that the woman had a small amount of marijuana in her system when the accident happened. There are still a lot of people who think Brandy should have been prosecuted, even though it's been years since the accident. Some people can't stop thinking about the kids who lost their mom and feel like the case didn't get the attention it deserved. Brandy has kept quiet about the incident and doesn't like talking about it, which is understandable. But no matter what, she'll always be connected to that tragic day.
Was 2006 the worst time for you when you were involved in the accident and the woman was killed? Was that the worst?
That was one of the worst times in my life.
So what do you think? Was Brandy to blame, or was it just a tragic accident? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Secure on how she looked. She always wanted to look pretty. And she never felt pretty.
She's got.
Brandy also was invited to tour with Boyz II Men. Brandy was just 15 years old at the time, and she had a crush on Wanya Morris, the lead singer of Boyz II Men. She was nervous because he was 6 years older than her. Eventually, Brandy found the courage to tell him how she felt. She said, "I just told him that I loved him and thanked him for making me feel the way I feel because I had never felt that way before."
He chose me. Well, actually, we chose each other because, I mean, I'm a big fan of his, and, you know, I think he's a big fan of mine. So we just work together good.
They became a couple but kept their relationship a secret. Brandy's mom, Sonia, was not happy about the age difference, and their relationship faced many challenges. Sonia said that one of the biggest issues was Brandy's belief that her mom stood in the way of her relationship with Wanya.
They're really totally against my relationship, and I tell my boyfriend, you know, if we never say never, then we can stay together forever. Just don't ever say never. So that's what.
After her 2-year relationship with rapper Wanya ended, Brandy explained in her Behind the Music episode that Wanya fell in love with another woman, R&B singer Adina Howard. This revelation shocked fans and made Brandy's heartache even worse. During all of these, Brandy was filming Moesha. The pressure to stay in shape for her role was overwhelming, and Brandy stopped eating. She dropped to only 105 pounds, which she said was destroying me, but she felt the need to look perfect. In 1997, Brandy's career reached new heights when Whitney Houston chose her to play Cinderella in a TV movie. But even with her career booming, Brandy was still trying to recover from her breakup with Wan Yu. To cope with her feelings, Brandy poured them into her 1998 album, Never Say Never. One of the album's biggest hits was the song The Boy Is Mine, a duet with Monica. The song became a chart topper, but it sparked a rivalry between the two singers. Still, the song won them a Grammy Award. Brandy tried to move on from her past relationships and date other men. She briefly dated rapper Mace, but quickly ended it because she felt he didn't take her seriously. Brandy then met a man outside of the music industry, but their relationship was full of problems. His jealousy started to ruin everything. During one argument, he called her the B word 13 times. Things got worse when he became physically abusive. Brandy, feeling trapped, blamed herself and thought no one else would want her. While dealing with her troubled relationships, Brandy's career kept moving forward. She starred in the movie I Know What You Did Last Summer and appeared alongside Diana Ross in Double Platinum.
Father, your dad is the one who just took you away. He never let you have my letters. He never let me find you.
But the constant stress of her bad relationships, her busy schedule, and extreme dieting caught up with her in 1999. One day while filming Moshe, Brandy told everyone she needed a break.
Hello? Excuse me, Huxtables.
She drove home feeling dizzy and sick. Soon she started hallucinating and had to be hospitalized. Doctors said it was exhaustion and dehydration, but rumors suggested it was from taking diet pills. Some sources claimed Brandy took multiple pills to lose weight, which may have caused her breakdown. After the show Moshe ended in 2001, Brandy made some big changes in her life. She broke up with her boyfriend, became a vegetarian, and even fired her mom as her manager. This move helped them heal their relationship, and her mom became the CEO of Brandy's company. Brandy hired Benny Medina, a veteran music executive, as her new manager. She started working on her third album with producer Rodney Darkchild Jerkins. During this time, Brandy began a relationship with Rodney's cousin, Robert Smith. Brandy and Robert got married quickly, but their relationship was full of lies, and things fell apart. It was a tough time in Brandy's life, but she continued to push forward, trying to balance her career and personal struggles. One of the most challenging moments came when Brandy decided to end her working relationship with producer Rodney Jerkins. Rodney had started sharing her unique sound with other artists, which caused tension between them. Brandy told Vibe magazine that Rodney felt like he lost both his best friend and his artist. Despite this, nothing was going to stop her from being with Robert, who she was deeply in love with at the time. In 2002, Brandy released her album Full Moon, and she also made her relationship with Robert public. She shared with the world that they were expecting a baby. However, after their daughter was born, their relationship began to fall apart. Brandy blamed the lack of passion between them for the breakup. 1 year later, Brandy started dating basketball player Quentin Richardson. Meanwhile, Robert wasn't keeping quiet. In a 2004 interview with Wendy Williams, Robert admitted that he and Brandy were never legally married. He also spoke about Brandy as if she was just a fling. Brandy's mother had come up with a plan to pretend they were married to protect Brandy's image, but Robert didn't seem to care about the truth. He even went on to talk about a film producer he was dating when he found out Brandy was pregnant. Not long after Robert spilled the beans about their fake marriage, Brandy announced that Quentin Richardson had proposed to her. Unfortunately, their engagement ended just 15 months later. Even though they had broken up, Brandy and Quentin tried to stay in touch and even tried to get back together. By 2004, Brandy was making big changes in her career. She fired her manager and left her record label, signing with Epic Records. In 2005, she faced another tragedy when her Moesha co-star Lamont Bentley, who played Hakeem Campbell, died in a car accident.
You gonna go propose to my girl and ask me what's up? Look, I'm sorry if you got hurt.
That was a tough time for Brandy, but she kept moving forward. Then tragedy struck again when her Moesha co-star Yvette Wilson, who played Andal, passed away from cancer in 2012. The same year, Brandy dealt with the shocking death of her close friend Whitney Houston. Brandy told Oprah Winfrey that losing Whitney was very hard for her, as they had been very close. In 2012, Brandy began a relationship with music executive Ryan Press. They got engaged, but less than 2 years later, they called it off. By 2015, Brandy was focusing on herself, journaling, and healing from past heartbreaks. She took time to laugh, cry, and reflect on her life. In 2019, Brandy talked about the idea of starring in a Moesha reboot and even mentioned a musical about her life. Despite all the heartache and challenges, Brandy remains strong, resilient, and one of the best-selling female artists of all time. Her story shows that no matter how tough life gets, it's possible to rise above it and keep going. Brandy has faced many challenges in her life, from health problems to personal losses and heartbreaks. In the early 2000s, Brandy's work schedule was demanding, and it took a toll on her health. She was suffering from extreme exhaustion, but even with this, she kept going. Brandy managed to recover and worked again with producer Rodney Jerkins on her 2008 album, Human. Her next album, 211, came out in 2012 under Chameleon Records. However, 2012 brought more heartache for Brandy. The same year, actress A.E.T. Wilson, who played Andal Wilkerson on Moesha, tragically passed away at the age of 48 from cervical cancer. 2012 was also the year Brandy had to deal with the loss of another person close to her, music legend Whitney Houston.
I was actually in the same hotel that she passed in.
At the Beverly Hilton
Yes,
Hotel.
and we were all getting ready for the Clive the Grammy
Davis
party, yes. And I was in my room getting ready.
In an emotional interview, Brandy spoke about her strong connection with Whitney. She said, "Whitney and I were very close. I couldn't accept the fact that she was no longer here."
I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way, you know. And I fell to the floor in tears and had been crying for weeks and months after that.
Really?
Yeah.
It hit you that bad?
It hit me.
In the same year, Brandy began dating music executive Ryan Press. She spoke about how he helped her regain trust in men and restored her faith in love. They quickly became engaged by December 2012. But sadly, their engagement ended less than 2 years later. Brandy and Ryan decided to take a break and reassess their relationship. As Brandy dealt with all of these changes in her personal life, she also faced something much darker. Despite her success in the entertainment world, Brandy went through a tough time emotionally. She went into a deep depression. In a 2020 interview, she opened up about feeling so sad and lost that, at one point, she even thought about ending her life. Brandy recalled lying in bed, feeling completely defeated, and asking herself, "So you're just going to go out like this? That's whack. You have a daughter. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for her." Her daughter, Ciarai, became her reason to keep fighting. Brandy credits her daughter for helping her get through that dark time. As she recovered, Brandy started talking about mental health in her music. In her song Bye Bipolar, she shared her struggles with mental health, even though she had never been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Brandy explained that she experienced moments of trauma that affected her sense of self and made her feel as though she had symptoms similar to those of the disorder.
So when are we finally going to see a Moesha reboot, okay? We see all these reboots, and I was such a Moesha fan. When is this happening?
You know what? We're still talking about it. I'm so open for it. I want it so badly, and I think
Despite all of these hardships, Brandy is now looking forward to the future. In 2019, she shared her excitement about returning to the spotlight. She announced that she would star in a reboot of Moesha and even planned to create a musical about her life.
And I think just the way the show ended, it ended on a cliffhanger. And I think, you know, the people that have supported Moesha over the years, they want answers. And I feel like it would be so appropriate to do one. And I just want everybody that's watching, I'm with it. I really want to do it.
Brandy promised that the musical would be personal and revealing, showing her true story. In March 2021, Brandy got a big opportunity when John Legend chose her to be a mentor on the 20th season of The Voice. This was a huge deal because it showed how much respect she had in the music industry. People loved seeing her share her experience and guide young singers, and it was clear that Brandy's influence was as strong as ever. Around the same time, Brandy worked with Disney on a special project. She recorded a song called Starting Now, which was used as the theme song for Disney Princess Remixed, an ultimate princess celebration. This project showed how versatile Brandy is as an artist. She wasn't just stuck in the past with her old hits. She was still creating new music that people loved. Later in 2021, Brandy joined the cast of the ABC series Queens, a show about a group of women who were part of a famous hip-hop group. Brandy played one of the members and even recorded new songs for the show. Although the show was canceled after one season, Brandy's performance was praised. Critics admired her voice and the chemistry between her and her co-stars. In 2022, Brandy kept making waves. She released Nothing Without You, a song she recorded with her daughter Sirai for the movie Cheaper by the Dozen. Then, in April of the same year, Brandy worked with Nigerian singer Tiwa Savage on the song Somebody's Son. This collaboration earned her a nomination for Best Global Act at the All Africa Music Awards, showing her growing international presence. Later in 2022, Brandy also teamed up with Mariah Carey to re-record Mariah's hit song, The Roof. This updated version was part of Mariah's masterclass course and highlighted how Brandy's voice still had the same magic after all these years. In November 2022, Brandy released her 8th studio album, Christmas with Brandy. This holiday album was a big moment for her, marking her return to a major record label. The album did well, reaching the top 30 on the US Holiday Albums chart. It was released at the same time as the Netflix movie Best Christmas Ever, where Brandy starred alongside Heather Graham and Jason Biggs. Despite facing some challenges in her career and personal life, Brandy has never given up. She continued to perform in 2023, including singing Someday at Christmas at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Then in early 2024, Brandy performed at the Grammy Awards, where a song she was featured in, Burna Boy's Sitting on Top of the World, was nominated for Best Melodic Rap Performance. But Brandy isn't just about music. She is also showing her acting talent. In July 2024, she returned to her role as Cinderella in Descendants, The Rise of Red. She also starred in a new psychological horror film, The Front Room, set to be released in September 2024. Through everything she's been through, Brandy has remained strong. From her rise to fame in the 90s to her ongoing success today, Brandy Norwood has proven that she is more than just a pop star. She is a true icon.